Guten Tag, Maths Legends. Today we're going to be looking at pie charts. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting out to try and see if we can learn how to draw them, whether we can describe them, and whether we can interpret what they're trying to tell us. Okay guys, before we get started and we start looking at this first example, it's important to know our vocab. Sometimes pie charts are called pie graphs or circle charts. If you hear any of those kinds of names, that's going to be you straight away making association that we are doing pie charts like we're doing today. Now when we're looking at pie charts to start with, normally we're given, if we're going to be drawing them, a couple of different bits of information. We normally get given a data table, which you can see there, on a particular topic. Our topic today is favourite milkshake flavours in 6 purple. Now you can see in our data table it tells us our whole amount. So you can see chocolate, strawberry, caramel and vanilla equal a total of 32. So our circle that we are creating today equals that 100%, or that whole, which is 32. So we have to represent the 32 people in that one circle. Now if we're having a look at it, the chocolate is 16, strawberry has 4 people, caramel 8, vanilla 4. What we have to do is we have to make sure that we have an exact amount when we're drawing it, so that if somebody was to come and measure it or know, they could know that it was exactly 16 or 4 or 8. Now I'm going to show you the entry level, or the easiest way of doing this when you have a number like 32 or 16, or even sometimes even easier numbers as well, when the data is not that difficult. Now in this case, you can see down the bottom, I've already divided up my circle into 8 even parts. They are exactly the same. If I divided up my 8, they're all 45 degrees each. Now, if I look at it and I say, right, I've got a total of 32 and I've got 8 parts, well, I know that each of those parts is going to represent 4 people, because 32 divided by 8 is 4. Now, here's what we need to do when we're drawing them. I'm going to start with the chocolate. Now the chocolate says that there are 16 people. Now if I know that each of these sections of my pie chart are 4, I would know that I would need 4 of those parts to be able to represent 16. So I'm going to colour in 4 of those parts. So we can draw around here quickly. Now I'm going to draw it in real quick, gents. So my colouring in is not going to be perfect. Definitely no Vincent van Gogh today. Righto, there we go. So you can see here, I've coloured in half of our circle, which is 4 sections. Now the next important part is that we need to make sure we label each of our different sections. Now there's lots of different ways. We can do a key, we can do a line going in, or we could write directly straight into our pie chart, which I'm going to do today. I'm going to write chocolate, so we know that it's a chocolate section. I'm then going to move on to strawberry. There are 4 people. We know each section is worth 4, so I'm going to quickly colour in one part of our pie to make for 4 people. I'm going to label it strawberry. Right, then I'm going to do my next one, which is caramel. Now it's 8 people. Now 8 divided by 4 is 2, so it must be 2 sections that I have to colour in to make sure that I represent those 8 people. I need to label it caramel. And the last one, and if I've done this right, I should have one bit left for the 4 vanillas. Let's put the 4 in there. I colour it in. I label it vanilla. Okay, the last part I need to do here to make sure that my pie chart is perfect is I need to give it a title. The title is already up the top, but I'm going to write in again. Favourite milkshake flavours in 6 purple. And I would normally underline it, but I don't have a straight line to underline it, gentlemen. Now you can see that my title also has capital letters for each one because it is a title, so please make sure you've done that. Okay, gents, what we're going to look at now is how do we actually do a pie chart when our data isn't easy and isn't easy to represent in a pie chart. Now, our data table becomes a whole lot more difficult. It just adds a couple extra columns. We still have our category, which is transport in this case, because we're looking at the SLC student transport to school each day. The amount that we have, but we also have a working column and then our angle that we're going to use. So in this case, when we start drawing our pie chart, we're going to be using a protractor. Now, we're not going to look at drawing the actual pie chart yet, because this is the most important part of the step. What we're going to do is we're going to look at bikes first. Now, we know that our bike, there are 25 people that ride their bike to school. We know that with our bus, there's 10, car 10, train 20, walking 30, and other ways 5. And that might be skateboards or scooters or skipping, if you please. If I added all those up, our total amount of people is 100. So that means that our pie chart is going to show those 100 people and divide it up to represent the 100 people and how they get to SLC each day with their transport. Now, to do that, we need to do the amount that we have. We need to divide it by our total, which is 100, and then we have to multiply it by 360. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, why 360 degrees? Well, our whole circle is 300 degrees. So in effect, what we're doing is we're dividing it by our whole amount of people and then multiplying it by our whole circle. So you can see I've done your working for you in the first one for bike. 25 divided by 100 times by 360. Now, straight away then, we need to use a calculator, because I'm going to be honest, gents, we don't need to know how to do this in a working paper. I'm sure that a lot of you can, but I'm going to quickly plug it in now. So I'm going to go 25 divided by 100, and I'm doing it on my calculator in front of me. That equals 0.25. Then I'm going to multiply it by 360. So that would be 90 degrees. So I'm going to write over here in this last column, 90 degrees. I've also worked out your second one, done the working for you. So 10 divided by 100, we know that'll equal 0.1. And we're going to multiply it by 360. That then gets 36 degrees. Now, straight away you can see that we've got some funny angles there. Now, you can see on the next one that I haven't finished the working off. Stop the video now and work out what you think might be going in to that working section. Okay, if you've done that, you've probably gone, oh, it's definitely going to be 10, sir. So 10 divided by 100 times 360 equals, now I'm not even going to work that out because we've done the same thing above it, and I can put 36 degrees. Try again, gentlemen, see what needs to go into the next one. That's right, if you've put down 20, 20 divided by 100 equals 0.2. Then we are going to multiply that by the 360, which is the whole circle, which equals 72 degrees. Now, I could have gone, well, that space has to be double of the one above, and I could have doubled it. Next one. Stop it here, gents. See if you can do the whole line of the equation for the working, for both walking and others. I'm going to write those in a minute, and we're going to see what they've come out as. Okay, let's have a look. If you had 30 divided by 100 times by 360 equals, you're going well. And if you had 5 divided by 100 times by 360, you're doing quite well. Okay, if I work those out and I do them on my calculator, I'm looking at 108 degrees down the bottom, and I'm looking at 18 degrees. Now, if I was to get my calculator and I was to add all of those up, I could straight away go, right, 90 plus 36 plus 36 plus 72 plus 108 plus 18 equals 360 degrees. Now, if that does not equate to 360 degrees, gentlemen, you need to go back and work out what's gone wrong, because the whole entire circle should be represented there, which is 360 degrees. If it doesn't equate to 360 degrees, you've done something wrong with your working. What we're going to do now, gents, is we're going to have a look at how do I actually now use this to draw a pie chart. So when we've got our table, what we have to do now is put it onto our circle and cut it up to show the full 360 degrees. So our first one, bike, was 90 degrees. So what I do is I start off with my line, and I put one line, which is like a radius that goes out to the outside of my circle. I then take my protractor and I put my protractor over the top, making sure that the middle dot lines up, and I count around from 0 to 90 and I make my mark. I then have a 90-degree section of my pie graph, which I'm going to be able to label bike. I do the same thing again with my next one, which is 36 degrees, which is the bus, so I put it down, I count around 30, I find 36, put my mark, I draw my line, and I label it again. I do the same again for my car, which is also 36 degrees. And you can see that I'm continually cutting each of the little pieces. Now, by the time that I get to my last piece should be exactly 18 degrees. So we've got trains now 72 degrees, so I quickly do 72. And you can see that I'm using my ruler each time to get straight lines, and you can see that I'm making sure that I label each of my sections, and then I've got 108 and 18. So if this is correct, I should be able to count around, find my 108. And then this last little section that I have, and I'm going to measure it just to make sure that I haven't done anything wrong. Should be my other section, so if I put it down the bottom here on the middle, and you can see there that I've got 10, 15, 16, 17, 18 perfectly worked out. Now we're not quite finished yet. I've labelled it all. The last thing I need to do on my pie chart is I need to put in my title, SLC Transport to School. And make sure I underline it. You can also see I've used my capital letters because it's a title, and voila, you've got a pie chart, my friends. Thanks.